Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. What you know, Alibis? Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Good to have you here. We had openings and several witnesses in the Ashley Benefield, aka the Black Swan trial today, and we're going to jump in. But first, if you're watching on YouTube, you know the drill. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, share it with your friends, and you can ring my bell if you want notifications of when I post new content. Music fact of the day: what song was voted as the worst song ever recorded? That belongs to We Built This City by Jefferson Starship. All right, what happened today? Well, a lot of witnesses took the stand. In fact, the state thinks they could possibly rest as early as Thursday. I was surprised at how quickly these witnesses were on and off the stand. Tomorrow will be a bit of a later start. They will have court resuming at 9 a.m. They took care of some motions after court today. I think they were expected that maybe would go into tomorrow, but we'll be back streaming live. Come watch with us. We have a great group. So let's jump into the opening statements. This is a case about a woman who early on in pregnancy decided she wanted to be a single mom and didn't want her husband to have custody. She would stop at nothing to obtain that goal. She tried several things in the system. No one got on her side: law enforcement, child protective services, or the courts. In the end, she shoots and kills him and claims self defense. Here in Florida, they didn't live together. Doug lived in his own apartment, Ashley with her mother and daughter. They were still interacting with the goal of reconciliation. They were going out together to the pool, to restaurants, but the problem is that's not what Ashley wanted. At the time of the shooting, they were preparing to move to Maryland. Her mom inherited a house and Doug wanted to move to, but would live separate. The shooting happened during packing. Doug would come at the same time every day to help move boxes and furniture. The problem was, Ashley knew this was a ruse. She didn't intend to reconcile. There was a court hearing on September 30th, 2020, where all of this would come out. She would act one way by herself and then another way when she was with Doug. With him, she wanted to work it out. But separate from Doug, she said there was no chance of reconciliation. On September 27th, she shoots and kills him 3 days before the hearing, and all this is made public. Just Doug and Ashley were at home at the time of the shooting. Ashley's mom went to the park with the child. Three important things about the shooting. Number one, Ashley was the only one armed. Number two, Ashley was not injured. Law enforcement took photos right after and again in a few days to see if bruises showed up later. Number three, the trajectory of the bullet shows side to side, meaning Doug wasn't facing her. They meet at the end of August 2016 at a political event, and 13 days later, they marry. Doug was 54, Ashley was 24. Ashley was into ballet. Her dream was to start a ballet company, and lo and behold, her husband has the money and connections to do this. So they do. They establish a ballet company, but it falls apart. April 2017, Doug has his vasectomy reversed. Within weeks or months, Ashley is pregnant, all within a year of marriage. Ashley decides she's too sick and needs her mom, who lived in Bradenton, Florida, so she moves. Ashley and Doug never lived together again. They had a long distance relationship when she first moved, but as the ballet collapses at the same time, Ashley starts complaining against Doug. The main one: Doug was poisoning her with heavy metals, poisoning their unborn baby, and she said the poison was put in her tea. There were domestic violence complaints, but never once did she say he hit, choked, or kicked her. Even though she's making these complaints, Doug was trying to make it work. At the time she's ready to give birth, Doug contacts an attorney in Florida, Stephanie Murphy, asks for help writing a letter to Ashley saying he wants to be a part of the birth and keep in contact. Ashley never responded. She wasn't due when the email was sent, but the next day she's induced and gives birth. And she doesn't tell Doug, and he doesn't know the baby is born for weeks. Doug finds out about the birth because Ashley is filing complaints again. The complaints were about the poisoning and other things, and she filed for an injunction, which is another word, by the way, for a restraining order. Doug had not met his child and did a cross complaint for access to their child. This was set for a hearing which went for 2 days in family court. The judge ruled Ashley was not getting a restraining order and Doug could see the child and granted him immediate visitation. The first time Doug met his child, she was 6 months old. They exchange custody at the sheriff's office, and Ashley becomes very nice to Doug and says, I'll go with you for the visitation. And they do. It becomes a year of them working on the marriage, going out as a family. Doug never moved in, he had his own apartment. August 2019, Ashley stops talking to him and Doug files for divorce. Then Ashley started a new set of complaints, 5 different ones, all revolving around their child. She said Doug was abusing the child. Not one of the allegations were ever prosecuted. And when she failed in these allegations, Doug still has visitation. Doug and Ashley had a psychiatric evaluation. The doctor met with them together, separate, with their daughter. And during the evaluation, Ashley acted very different with Doug, saying, We're moving to Maryland, working on the marriage. But when she's not with Doug, I don't want this. I don't want to reconcile. So all Doug is hearing is Ashley wants to reconcile. That report was coming out at the hearing on September 30th, 2020, and Ashley knew the ruse was up. So she kills him on the 27th. There had to be a request from both sides to release the psychiatric report. Ashley tried to get Doug to drop it, but he refused. You're going to hear not so nice things about Doug. Remember who's saying them and why. Speaking words don't make them true. This was a custody battle Ashley was going to win at all cost. The cost was Doug's life, and that is murder. The defense is up. They show photos of Doug, say he was 58 when Ashley was forced to shoot him. They show a photo to the jury. Notice how he's built for a 58-year-old man. The defense attorney says, I have strong words about Doug. He was a very disturbed man, 30 years older than Ashley. He was obsessed with her and portrayed himself as everything he was not to win her hand in marriage. He promoted himself as a religious, decent human, but he was manipulative, cunning, and an abusive man who insisted on control. You'll learn over the course of 4 years, he did the following: fired a gun in the ceiling of their kitchen to stop Ashley from talking, threw a loaded gun at her, punched their dog in the face so hard he knocked the dog unconscious, regularly carried a cocked loaded firearm, placed a tracker on Ashley's car. He was observed following her in her car in Florida despite living in South Carolina. He was caught by a neighbor in their backyard trying to look into Ashley's house. He also punched numerous holes in the drywall and had a previous domestic violence history with his prior marriage. Ashley knew this on September 27th, 2020, the day of the shooting. Doug admitted to these acts and Ashley feared him. That was no secret. She left him a letter when she moved 3 years prior to the homicide, detailing how scared she was of him, fearing for herself and her unborn child. She left him, he pursued her. She rejected him, and he would not take no for an answer. She moved to get away from him. He followed her. She decided to go to Maryland. He decided to go to Maryland as well. She belonged to him. He had the right to be with her, and no less than God decided that was the case. She was his property. Abusers seek control. The pressure he brought to her was so overwhelming it triggered suspicions, and she was dedicated to protect herself and their child. Domestic violence victims have things in common. Number one, things will get better, but they get worse. Number two, victims develop a get along attitude. It keeps the peace. Number three, victims constantly speak about walking on eggshells. When kids are involved, you become hyper vigilant, and Ashley developed those characteristics. On the day of the shooting, Doug arrives. Ashley told him it was over. Maybe work out a co parenting agreement, but how does that day unfold? It begins with Doug seeking control. He's simmering, a slow boil, because he knows Ashley is moving and the marriage is over. There's a discussion of how to pack the belongings. Ashley said hers should be packed last because her things were being unloaded first and Doug's last. This is the most vulnerable time for domestic violence victims when the abuser realizes he's about to lose her. What's his response? Threats and intimidation as they pack. Ashley says she's exhausted and let's stop for the day, but Doug ignores it. He grows hostile and aggressive. 2 times he body checks her, slamming his shoulder into hers. Next, he jams the cardboard box in her side, which leaves scratches. Doug says, I know what you're doing, trying to get me to leave, but I'm your husband and I can spend the night if I want to. Ashley goes to the front door to leave, and he grabs her hand and gets in front of the door and yells, Where do you think you're going? You can't leave me. Ashley finds the strength to say, I'm done. You need to leave now. He hits her upside her head. You'll see the swollen eye. Fearing for her life, it's the first time he actually struck her. She goes to the bedroom and gets a gun. And Doug gets into this warrior pose with his arms moving and advances. So she fires. He continues to advance. She panics and tries to get away. Backs up, nowhere to go. She keeps firing the gun. She sees feet go up and she flees to a neighbor's house. The only thing that will be established beyond a reasonable doubt is Doug was a violent abuser, and her attempts to placate him is what abused women do. Deadly force was justified under the circumstances. The first witness on the stand, Tommy Benefield, first cousin of Doug's, they were very close throughout their life. He's a pilot instructor, a former Navy pilot, and Doug followed that career path and flew in 2 deployments. Doug was married to Renee, and they had a daughter, Eva. Renee died in December of 2015 from an undiagnosed heart condition resulting in a heart attack. Doug met Ashley 9 months after Renee's death. Tommy first met Ashley in March of 2017. He had no clue about her before they met. At the time, Tommy was flying for Southwest Airlines and had a schedule change and overnighted in Charleston. He texted Doug and wanted to have dinner. They usually have dinner in the airport, but that night, Doug asked him to come to his place. He said they stayed around 4 or 5 hours that night and ended up at Tommy's hotel to get a medical device, and then they got dinner. They went back to Tommy's room after and talked all night about how they met, etc. Ashley and Doug had mutual interests in relationships about what they wanted. And Ashley talked about her fibromyalgia associated with her ballet, talked about her upbringing, the divorce of her parents, and things like that. Ashley talked about carrying a gun. And in fact, the night they met, they went outside. Ashley showed Doug the gun she was carrying in her bra. Doug and Ashley talked about wanting children and Doug having a vasectomy reversal. He said Ashley paid for that using a credit card. 3 months later, she was pregnant. They had a wedding reception in June of 2017, and Tommy was not able to go. He explained he's a single dad, and it was at the home of one of Doug's business partners. Ashley told Tommy she was a ballerina, and by the time he met her, they had established the ballet company and they were working on getting that up and running. They had several millions of dollars endeavored, also 40 plus dancers to be hired. Doug did the online LLC, founded the name, and worked together to build a diverse ballet and open it to all body types and ethnicities, breaking those barriers that exist in the ballet world. Part of it was funded by Doug's business partners, his friends, and Doug himself personally invested $100,000. They also had a major arts benefactor in Charleston who was a personal injury lawyer. Tommy said Doug didn't have any savings. He sold his stocks to be able to put that $100,000 up. Tommy said the first ballet event was in May of 2017, and Ashley got pregnant in July. August was the large launch for the ballet company, and Tommy did attend that. 2 weeks after that ballet launch, Doug moved Ashley to Lakewood Ranch, Florida. He drove her down and drove back the next day. Tommy was asked by the state how Doug and Ashley acted. He said the ballet opening night, they were totally in love. Doug was respectful to her. And in May, when he was in Florida with them, Doug was respectful, seemed in love, and nothing seemed wrong. On cross, did you do hand to hand combat in the Navy? He said no. He's asked if he remembered a conversation about close quarters combat. He said if I did talk about it, it would have been about security for the airlines that he was running. Ashley left Doug September 18th, 2017. The defense asked, do you remember texting Ashley in May 2018? I'm a fan of yours. Tommy said he didn't remember that word. It may have been said in a phone call or text between January and June. The defense asked, did you tell her she married the wrong Benefield? There's an objection. They go back and forth about this for a while. There's a sidebar. During the sidebar, the jury and the witness are sent out of the room, and the defense calls Tommy Benefield a creep. The judge tells the defense not to name call. But back to testimony, the witness says it was an attempt to keep the conversation open with Ashley and nothing more. He's asked, did you support her in November of 2017? And he said, not specifically about that. He's asked, do you recall expressing support on November 4th, 2017? The witness says he doesn't remember. So they show the text. The witness said he was unaware, by the way, of any results of a pending case in South Carolina. But the defense says, but you just said you did. He said he knew after the fact that there were some filings in South Carolina. That was it for Doug's cousin, Tommy. The next witness, Eva Benefield, Doug's daughter. She's 23 now. She was 15 when she met Ashley. She found out about Ashley in August of 2016, about 9 months after her mom passed away. Her dad was on speakerphone while picking her up from school. Somebody on the other line asked Doug if he was bringing his girlfriend to the conference. Eva said she wasn't upset, but said she trusted him and she really just wanted her dad to be happy. 2 days later, she found out they were married. Doug came to her room and told Eva that he and Ashley needed to talk to her. Eva said, just give me space. I'm okay if you're happy, but I only want to talk if you say you're going to propose. That's when Doug tells Eva they're already married. Ashley moved into their home in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Eva said their relationship was lovey dovey, lots of PDA. They were always together doing something. Eva said her relationship with Ashley was friendly at first, but then Ashley started trying to reprimand her, be a mother figure, and Eva understandably did not want that. Eva said Ashley would have temper tantrums when they argued. Ashley would run to Doug and say that Eva wasn't obeying. Ashley would overreact over very small things. And with Doug, Ashley would strongly voice her opinions, and Eva said over and over and over again, and this happened on a very regular basis. Doug would just sit and listen. Eva said she never saw them argue and definitely nothing physical. On cross, the defense asked about the hole in the ceiling of the home. Can you describe it? And she says it was round. He asked if there were holes in the drywall, and she said one near the kitchen. He asked if it was consistent with the size of a fist, and she said yes. He asked Eva, did your dad study close quarters defense in the Navy? And she said he did. He asked Eva if she has a black belt personally, and are you trained in defense combat? She said Taekwondo. The defense asked, did you and your dad often discuss defensive fighting? She said, when I was 10 years old and practicing. He asked, were you aware a domestic violence injunction had been issued in South Carolina? And she was not aware of that. He asked, was your dad fixated with Ashley? And Eva said, I think they were fixated with each other. The defense says, did you make a prior statement that your dad was fixated with Ashley? And Eva said, I may have. He said, the word you used to refer to your dad's interest in Ashley was fixated. And Eva says, yes. There is no redirect. The next witness, Ashley Benefield's neighbor. This is the neighbor who called 911. He heard pounding on the door and at first didn't see anybody. And then the pounding happened again. So he got worried and went into the back of his house and got a weapon just in case somebody was trying to break in. He sat the gun down to look outside again before he loaded it and saw a leg. It was Ashley's because she was sitting on the stoop. She stood up and he opened the door. Ashley said, he attacked me. The neighbor asked who, and she said, Doug. He attacked me and I shot him. He told her she better come in, and that's when he saw the handgun. He told her he couldn't leave the gun outside. It was sitting where she was, so he picked it up and brought it inside. He shut the door and locked it. He asked Doug's condition. Ashley said she didn't know. He asked where her mom and the baby were, and she said at the park. At this point, they play the 911 call. I'm going to play that because the audio was clear enough to where you could hear it.
Manatee County 911, what is the address of your emergency?
Hi, my address is 11327 White Rock Terrace.
Okay, can you repeat that for me to make sure I have it correctly?
The house next door, honey, what's your address? Okay, it's right next door to me. She just came over. Her strange husband attacked her, and she says she shot him. Now, we've not gone over there yet.
Okay, what's his name?
Who?
What is his name?
His name is Doug Benefield.
Okay.
I have not gone over there. I'm not
Okay,
ready to go back.
I don't want you to go over there. Stay on the line just one moment. I'm going to connect you over to the sheriff's dispatch, okay?
Okay.
One moment.
Calm down, honey. Calm down.
What is your name, sir?
My name's John Sant. KNT. I live next to
Office dispatch on a recorded line. This is Gabby. How can I help you? Hey, Gabby, it's Karen. On the 11327, I have John Singer on the phone. He's saying the neighbor came over, female neighbor. It was a domestic. She shot her husband.
Okay. All right, I'm going to get that on the screen, okay?
Okay.
Which screen is this her at?
The 11327 White Rock Terrace.
Okay.
That's my address.
That's your address? What's her address? Where this occurred at?
Her address is right next to, I believe it's 11331.
She's on the corner?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, on the corner. She's with me now, quite upset. The weapon is here.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go over and look at anything, or just wait for the...
No, I want you to just wait for the police, okay?
All right, if you could just get them here quick. She came in, she was quite hysterical. I didn't know who was banging on my door. Said that he attacked her, and she shot him.
Okay. I'm just getting that all on the screen, okay?
Okay. I know, honey. Come on. I know. Go ahead, ma'am.
Where is the gun? Is it with her, or is it just...
I have it right here, ma'am. It's sitting on the floor inside the door. My door's locked, so in case he isn't, he can't get up. I'm also armed if he does come over and try to harm her, just so everybody knows.
Okay.
I'm kind of concerned with her mother and the little girl might get back there and find this whatever happened. Don't go out there, honey. Come on. I know. Come on, honey. Sit down. Sit down. I know.
Yeah. All right, I just want you guys to stay on the phone with me, okay?
No, I'm right here with you. I'm just with her. I'm trying to comfort her. Where in the house is he? Or the police are going to want, no problem. I know, baby. You got to sit down. Come on. There's no... Well, honey, they want you to stay here. If he isn't, we can't take a chance. That's why I want them to hurry up before we get back to the park.
Deputies are moving as fast as their hand. They're coming priority. They're coming lights and sirens. They just want to get and make sure that everything's okay. I want to... So where in the house is he?
Where in the house is he?
My bedroom.
Her bedroom. No, I don't know where that is. So it's one of the bedrooms. It's a lot like mine, so I'm going to assume when you go into the... Is the garage door open? When you go into the garage, it's going to be on the left? Yeah. On the left.
Okay. Okay. All right, I'm just getting that typed up, okay?
What, ma'am?
I'm just getting everything on the screen, okay?
Okay.
I should have a deputy pulling up here soon. Do you see him?
No, I'm in the back now looking out. I know which way the park is in Central Park here.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Okay, the sheriff's here. Thank heavens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you
the
want...
sheriff's car just pulled...
Yeah,
what
they
do
just
you want
pulled
us
up to
to
the
do?
other address. I'm going to stay on the line with you until a deputy gets with you, okay?
Okay. Okay, the sheriff is here. I'm not too sure where they're going.
I'm just staying on the line with you. The deputies.
I'm right here. I haven't left yet.
Yeah.
I just see it's a SUV sitting out there in front of my neighbor's house, right in front of my house. Just to come, you know, they're going to take you into custody. You know that, right? Okay, just you know, you just calm down and just calm. Okay. Mm-hmm. I know.
Okay. You just let me know when they come knock on your door, okay?
Are they coming now, the police?
They will. They're waiting for a little bit of
Okay.
additional units. They want to have everything.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm glad that, oh, geez, we got to get a hold of it. Don't go out. Right until this police officer comes and look.
They're going to let me know what they want me to tell you, okay? They're just waiting to make sure that they have other people with them. They don't want anything to get out of hand without having proper backup, you know?
Yeah. Well, like I said, the weapon's here.
Mm-hmm.
I just want them to know that exactly where it's just sitting right inside the door. It's on the floor. And I did reach out when she ran in and picked it up off my front patio and brought it in. I wasn't going to leave it outside.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another police officer.
Is it just inside the front door or the back door?
Say that again?
Is it just inside the front door or like the back door patio area?
I'm by the front door. She came in the front. I'm sitting here staring at an officer right now.
Okay.
Looks like he's talking to one of the other cars. Neither one of them are moving.
Yeah. I'll let you know when it's time when to come out, okay?
Okay. Honey, is that your weapon or his? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna try. Let me get my. Okay, just calm down, hon.
Okay. Now the deputies want her to go outside with her hands up, nothing in them. Okay?
You want her to go out?
Yes. They want her to come out with not.
Out of my house?
Yes.
Does he know she's in my house?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we're gonna have to go out. Okay.
And they want you to stay inside.
Now,
Okay.
put your hands where he can see them. Okay. All right. Where's she at?
Just start walking out front. They're outside.
I don't see him anywhere. She sure isn't her.
Just start walking out. They're not going to do anything. They just want to make sure that everything's safe and that they're safe, okay?
Can I take her out? She's really upset.
No, they want you to stay inside. It says female
You
only.
stay inside on your hand? I don't see it. Now, are they at the right house?
We've told them multiple times which house to be at.
Yeah, 11327. I'm right in front of that SUV that does not have its light. Hold up right there, honey. Where are they at? There's a police officer over on the, with the flashing. Okay, one of them sees her now.
Yeah, just keep her walking out. Okay?
Honey, do they see you?
They're probably giving her instructions, okay?
Okay. Now, I need a police officer to come and get this weapon.
Yeah, they're going to come and get the weapon. They just wanted to make
Okay,
sure.
here they come now. Oh.
The state asked, did Ashley appear to have any injuries? No. Was she complaining of anything? No. She also had no ripped clothing. So on cross, they give him a photo. It's an overhead picture of his property to lay out. There's a red dot on Ashley's house. His house is immediately to the left. They asked if Ashley was terrified, stuttering, shaking, hysterical. He said yes. Was there anything unusual? He said there was a spent cartridge stuck between the front slide of the firearm and the rear chamber entrance. The witness says to him, it said the weapon was not held properly. When fired, it was held too loosely. The next witness, Deputy Thomas Burley, he's with the sheriff's office. He responded to the scene and he said, just by default, a call like this has deputies parking a few houses away for safety when they first arrive. After the second deputy shows up and the 911 caller was still on the phone, they told dispatch to have Ashley come out with her hands up. He didn't see any injuries or ripped clothing, but she was visibly upset. She was placed in handcuffs and they put her in the witness's car. She did not require any medical treatment. He was advised to take Ashley to the sheriff's office in Bradenton for interviews. He says it's about a 28 to 30-minute drive from the house. Once they were there, He escorted her to the entrance, and a detective met them, and her attorney was also there waiting as well. On cross, the defense asked if she was hysterical. The deputy said she was visibly upset. He didn't see any hysteria. The defense asks about a deposition from August of 2021 that the witness gave where he said she was hysterical. So the witness says, according to this, yes. Then they moved to May 7th, 2018, and asked the witness, did you respond to a call about a suspicious person in the driveway of Ashley's? He doesn't remember. He says he gets a lot of calls, obviously. The defense shows a copy of this report. He says it's his report, but he does not remember this incident. The complaint was May 7th, 2018 at 9:54 p.m. and Ashley was the person that made the report. It said the person in the driveway is suspected to be Doug. Again, he doesn't recall that. Next witness is Detective John Jones. He's with the sheriff's office. He got a call about a shooting with injuries and was asked to make sure nobody came out of the back of the residence. Once nobody came out of the back, he went inside to clear the house to be sure it was safe. He went through the front door. He found Doug in the floor of the bedroom. He saw that Doug had a gunshot wound to his upper arm as well as his right leg, and overall, the room was empty. The state brings in the clothing that Doug was wearing when he was shot. The deputy explains he was the one that cut the shirt to look for any gunshot wounds on that shirt. She has him say it's a size small. The shorts were cut by EMS, and she asked what size 30. She's reiterating to this jury that Doug was not a very tall, large man. He said Doug was cool to the touch when he touched him. He tried to pack wounds to be able to initiate CPR, but he ultimately didn't start CPR because first responders were on the scene very quickly. There were photos being taken as they found the scene when they arrived. One was him tending to Doug after placing the defibrillator patches on him. The second was Doug as he was found. And a third photo saw a mattress propped up on the wall. He saw four spent shell casings, and there was one projectile in the room that he saw. They exited the residence and it was secured for the search warrant. On cross, he saw them drag Doug to another room to render aid. There are photos of drag marks and blood on that floor, by the way. Next witness, Detective Tyler Ackerman, works for the sheriff's office and he is a veteran of the Army. He responded after the shooting and saw Doug on a stretcher. When he arrived, Ashley was being placed in the patrol car. He and two others went to the neighbor's residence to talk to him. The neighbor signed a waiver for them to come in and collect the gun so they wouldn't have to go get a search warrant. The firearm had a live round inside, and the slide on the gun wasn't seated in the forward position. He kept the firearm secure until crime scene came to collect that from him. On cross, the detective says that the firearm was not jammed. The slide wasn't locked to the rear, and it could be because she wasn't holding the gun firmly. The defense asked if someone is petrified and not holding it firmly enough, could that explain the condition the gun was in? The witness said the round would fire and the slide just doesn't return to the front. The next witness, crime scene tech Megan Deverak. She went to get photos of Ashley at the sheriff's office, collect her clothing, and also check for further injuries. They show photos that she took of Ashley, frontal and both sides. The witness said she didn't observe any injuries on Ashley's face. They show a top to bottom showing her midsection, her shirts, the front and back view of her legs. She said she saw redness on Ashley's right forearm and slight discoloration on her left leg and upper right thigh. They show a photo of her left ear. Her attorney, who was there, said that they saw redness and asked that she take a photo of that. When the t shirt was removed, she saw a scratch just under Ashley's right breast and also on her right hip. The scratches were red, but there were no other injuries. After this witness collected Ashley's clothing, her job was done. Her job was done. On cross, she did take DNA swabs. She took a buccal swab from Ashley, as well as touch DNA from Ashley in areas that her attorney said needed to be swabbed. The defense asked if she swabbed Ashley's hands, and the witness said her hands as well as her wrist area. They go back and forth about this for a minute. He was asking what the results of that was, but she doesn't know what DNA that was supposed to be compared to. Mainly, her job is to do the swabs and then they send it to the lab to see if there's DNA there. I'm going to let this witness's video keep playing just because we're not finished looking at these photos she took. And the others are a little more graphic, which I'm not going to put on the screen that show blood. But the next witness was Amanda Comlin. She's a crime scene tech with the sheriff's office. She took photos on the outside of the house. And then once that search warrant was on scene, she went inside. She collected that firearm from the deputy. There was one round in the chamber and three in the magazine. And they show several firearm photos. She goes inside to take more and went into the bedroom where Doug was shot. They go through the photos she took, the interior of the garage. You can see there's boxes, plastic containers, very clear a move was in progress. There were photos of the laundry room, the baby's bedroom, the living room, the kitchen, the entrance to the bedroom. There's blood on the floor from the first responders dragging Doug into another room to try to be able to render aid. She describes that in some, she zooms in to get closer views. They show the shell casings, puddle of blood, drag marks, a photo of Ashley's cell phone, which I'm very interested to see. That's where these days we find a lot of evidence lies is in these cell phones. They also show a photo of her bag. On Cross, they point out that she took more pictures that night than were introduced. He passes one to her, and it's a picture of Ashley and her concealed firearm permit. He says that her photos tell us this is how the scene was when you took the photos, but not the way it was prior to the time you took your photos. The defense mentions casings could have landed in a different place by the time she took her photos. She agrees. And the blood found right in the front room near the door could be after first responders and police had kicked things around or walked through. He mentions that she wrote two different reports. And in those reports, she refers to this as a homicide. The defense asked if when she's photographing the scene, all you know is somebody died as a result of what happened. You don't know if it's a crime. And that's why you call it a homicide and not murder. And the witness agrees. That was it for today. These witnesses were on and off the stand within 15 minutes, maybe 20 at the most. It really went quickly. Don't forget, 9 a.m. tomorrow, be going live on the YouTube page, streaming the trial. It's a great group of people. Come talk to us. We have a really good group in our chat. The mods are great. So come join us. And if you can't, I'll be here tomorrow breaking down day 2 for you. We'll see what's in store. Until then, hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. And we'll see you soon.